What does it mean to be a common factor of two numbers? Well, it's really right there in the name. This number, common, means shared, like you have things in common with your friends. So a common factor of two numbers is just something that's a factor of both. So for example, 18 is 3 times 6, 27 is 3 times 9, so 3 is a common factor of 18 and 27. All right, how do we find common factors? Well, there are two ways we can go about it. Our first option would be to list all the factors of both numbers, and then see what appears on both lists. So, for example, we might want to find the common factors of 30 and 24. Pause the video and find all of the factors of 30 and 24. All right, if your lists are the same as mine, you should have found that the factors of 30 are 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 10, 15, and 30. And the factors of 24 are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, and 24. Which means, what are the common factors? Well, which numbers appear on both lists? I see both lists have a 1, both have a 2, both have a 3, both have a 6, and that's it. Right, so what are the common factors of 30 and 24? The common factors are 1, 2, 3, and 6. Now, one term we might mention. Notice that on our list of common factors, one of them's always going to be biggest, right? They don't go on forever because they're always less than our two numbers. The common factor that is biggest is called the greatest common factor. Also, notice that 1 showed up as a common factor here. That's always going to happen too. Because it always happens, it's not very interesting. We're going to sometimes ignore the fact that 1 is a common factor. All right, so if we're interested in the greatest common factor, or all common factors, we will want to use this method. List all the factors, see what they have in common. If we just want any old common factor, there's an easier way. Our second option is to factor the two numbers into primes and see what numbers are on both lists. So for example, maybe we want to find the common prime factors of 75 and 60. Or maybe we want to find at least one common factor that isn't 1. Well, we'll start by factoring 75 and 60 into primes. Pause the video and factor these numbers into primes. Alright, I'm going to do 60 first because it's easier. Why is it easy? Because 10 is one of its factors. 60 is 10 times 6. Oh, but 10 I know is 2 times 5. Those are both prime. 6 I know is 2 times 3. Those are both prime. So 60 is finished. You may have tried something different. You might have, for example, said 60 is an even number and factored out 2 first. But we're guaranteed to always get the same list of primes in the end. In this case, 60 is 2 times 2 times 3 times 5. All right, how about 75? Now maybe you know a way to factor 75 off the top of your head. If you do, that's cool. If not, well, 75, looking at it, is definitely a multiple of 5. So 5 is one of its factors. To find the factor that goes with 5, I'll divide 5 into 75. 5 goes into 7 once. 5 goes into 25 5 times. No remainder, that's good. 75 is 5 times 15. 5 is prime. But 15, there it is in the multiplication table. It's 3 times 5. And of course I knew that 15 was a multiple of 5 because its last digit is 5. 3 and 5 are primes, so we're done. 75 is 3 times 5 times 5. So, tell me some common prime factors of 75 and 60. Right. Common prime factors are 3 and 5. Now, if we're just looking for any old common factor, if all we want is just 1, sometimes we can tell just by looking. I'm going to call that kind of option 0. What do I mean? Maybe we want to find a common factor of 20 and 50. Looking at these two numbers, they are definitely both multiples of 10. When should you use those other methods in order to find any common factor? Yeah, when you can't tell by looking. And whether or not you can tell by looking is going to depend on you. Maybe I can tell by looking and you can't. Maybe you can tell by looking and I can't. If you look at the two numbers and you see a common factor, then you've got a common factor. If you look at them and you don't, either find all the factors or factor into primes.